So this is the last part. Thank you for bearing with me through this unexpectedly long trio of videos. I want to apologize at the beginning of this video. I had my jacket on and I didn't realize how much it muffled the microphone. I tried to cut out the worst of the scruffing, but it is what it is. This is also a bit of a longer one. I was debating cutting this up into 4 parts, but I decided nah. It seems like some of you don't mind the longer format, and I couldn't really think of a clean place to break this. So with that, yeah, it works out in the end. I hope you enjoy. I'm running water through it to try to get as much of the concentrated coolant out as I can. Okay, what's coming out of there now is pretty clear. I think it's mostly just water. Right, well, while I'm waiting for that, I will start pulling the alternator and everything off because I have to get the belts off to be able to swing that out. Oh, what a piss off. You do things yourself, you fuck up. That's just part of it. Shake it off and keep going. I say more to myself than to you guys. Oh, I really wanted to turn this engine over tonight. That is seeming increasingly unlikely. The hardest things to deal with is when things go wrong, every little thing starts to piss you off, which of course just makes it more likely that you're going to make a mistake, which is going to piss you off more. And you have to be really careful not to fall into that spiral. At least this all being apart so recently means that everything's coming apart nice and easy. I mean, that's something to look up to, right? Are you happy about? Okay, how can I drain this? I know I'm not going to get all of it, but I'm trying to get most of it. Okay, that should be most of it. Alright, well, there's no way I'm going to catch whatever's in here, but I have a fresh pad on under the engine, so I'm going to put this up now because I'm going to risk dropping it and spilling more than what's dripping out of there. And what's dripping out of there is mostly water now anyway. What the f keeps making that noise? I don't know if you can hear that on the camera, but every now and then there's like a clunk, almost like a breaker resetting. I need to get my pliers. Oh, I have them here, good. I'm being as careful as I can not to damage the new impeller. Got it. What is making that noise? I think I got most of it. All right, absolutely devoid of any dish soap. All right. I swear to God, whatever's making that noise. You please go into your... Oh, it's exactly what I didn't want to have happen. This is not going well. This is not going well. don't have enough dexterity with these gloves. Well, for better or worse, the bilge is getting cleaner. You're probably only seeing the back of my head right now, I'm sorry. Okay, that belt's on tight. All right, alternators next. Okay, and the last one is seawater. All right, pull that off and drain it. Actually, what I'll do is I'll pull that off, add water to it, pour it into the milk jug, and then out of the milk jug, I'll start to refill this. Okay, well, it comes out, but not easily. Okay, that's going to take forever. All of this is just reinforcing my desire to convert to electric. God, this is annoying. Refilling it, take 2. I don't know how long this is in the video, but in real life it's been hours and hours. Oh shit, I did it again. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a lot of gurgling. All right, it's been a few minutes. I've put some charge back in the batteries. I have made myself a little bit less pissed off and stressed out. And it's had some time for the coolant to hopefully settle through the hoses. Let's go back out there and see what we're looking at. Ugh. One of my sockets just went under the gas tank. Well, that's just absolutely disgusting. Putting my newspaper towel down here to catch the inevitable spills. I am going through paper towel at an absolutely alarming rate. Now I know that no matter how long I wait, there's no way that I'm going to get all of the air out of the system. So I'm going to turn the engine over before too much longer, if only to get the fluids moving. Wait a second, I don't think this bottle's going to work. It can dump the overflow in, but it has to be able to suck it back out somehow. That's what that bottom one is for. I can probably disconnect the top and connect the bottom. Then it could drain down, and if it needs to suck some in, it'll suck it out the bottom because it'll have fluid on top of it. Maybe that's how it's supposed to be. Maybe that top has always been just a... Oh my God. Okay, there's no fluid down here, so I'm gonna take that off and run that hose down to here. That way, if it has to dump out, because this entire thing is lower than here, it should be able to lift up, and when it needs to suck out, that'll just vent to atmosphere, I guess. Now, how many of you watching this saw me put the screw in down here and were going, "You fool! If only you had been here at the time." Oh, okay, that is not empty. One of the things about doing a big project on your own for the first time is how many people are going to tell you, "Well, you did that wrong. You should have done it this way." Thing is, they're not here. They're not with you at the time when you're trying to figure all this stuff out, when you're trying to do all of this stuff. Telling you after the fact you've done something wrong is not very helpful. When you're doing something on your own, you just have to accept the fact that you're going to do your best. and it will be what it'll be after that. There's so much I have learned already that is so obvious in hindsight. I think that's been my most constant experience since I started this, is something feeling like a complete mystery, having no clue what I'm doing it for the first time, and suddenly it feels so obvious. I'm going to throw some coolant in here. I don't know when the air bubbles out if that's going to suck up. I hope so. But that's why I'm putting some in there, in the off chance that's how it works. All right. It's not great, but it's not bad either. Okay, that's connected. Oh, ha! Finally broke completely off. Okay, well, that was expected. So, this here broke completely off that screw. I need my 90-degree to get in at that. I also need a new end on it, so I'm gonna go get my crimpers, and I'm gonna go get the stuff I need to fix that, and the stuff I need to fix this. I'm gonna pull the alternator wire off. Well, you know what? No, these are fine for starting the engine. I just need to fix this. And for that, I think I'm gonna cut this off and run a new end to there. One corroded thread stuck to it. I need to go find a ring terminal that will fit this. I'm going to turn you off for a few minutes. I'll be back in a few minutes with this wire ready to go. Oh, Jesus. I'm so tired. It's probably pretty dark right now, but let's see what I can do. Ah, this should do. I don't have a barrel thingy to connect these, so I'm so tired. I don't even know if I'm making any sense anymore. I'm sorry. I don't have a way to splice this wire onto the wire that's already in there cleanly. I'll figure something out. If you're gonna take on a big project, there's gonna be days you really wish you didn't take on a big project. There's not much to do but to just ride those days out. I'll tell you right now, I'm not feeling it, but I know I will again soon. None of these are gonna work. This is too small. Yeah, it's not even crunching it. For the sake of that, I'm just gonna crush it with nose pliers. I need to make progress. I need to turn the engine over. It was working before, holding on by strands. Yeah, this is my smallest shrink tubing. Okay, I'm gonna cut a length of this. So, I got, ooh, can you focus in that place? So I found a ring terminal that fits onto the screw, but it's so small that it doesn't fit my crimpers. So I'm just gonna try crimping it with my needle nose pliers. It won't be perfect, it won't be great, but it should work for now. I've got a bit of shrink tubing. I don't have any way to connect this onto the old wire. So I'm just gonna twist the wires together, fold it over, and shrink it under shrink tubing. It ain't pretty, but it should do the job. This is not an approved way to do this, but okay, it feels like it's on there. Perfect? No, but a hell of a lot better than just stray wires like it was before. I'm going to put this back on right away so I don't lose it, and then I'll figure out how to join the ends. Okay. So if you recall my technique of fanning it out, I don't know if the camera's picking this up, fanning it out, weaving it together, twisting it up, and then folding it over and shrink tubing it. It's not a great connection by any stretch of the imagination, but it works in a pickle. And I am very much in a jar of pickles right now. There we go. All right. Good? Nope. Better than before? Sadly, yep. Oh, I bought some coolant. Put a little more coolant in. Almost ready to turn this thing over. I know I'm going to be taking that off again, but I want to tighten that up so if there's vacuum, it hopefully can start to suck up that down there. I don't know if that's how this works, but that's how I'm hoping it works. This wire is reconnected. This is acceptable. Belt is tight. Belt is tight. Belt is tight. Fuel is open. Tight, tight, tight. Tight, tight, tight. All right. I think I'll leave you down here because, well, The most interesting stuff is probably going to be happening down here. I'm going to need to check the gauges when I try to turn the engine over. I'd be shocked if it actually starts. I'm really expecting just to turn it over a few times, and hopefully that'll start to flush some of the air out of the coolant. Wish me luck. I could really use it tonight. The hell did I do with the key? Oh, that's it. All right, let's turn it on. It doesn't want to turn over. My starter motor's bad, or my starter battery's dead. Okay, something down below is beeping. All right, is the charger on? It's charging. Why can't I start it? E04 volt, 11.75 E04 battery 1. Why is it not charging? It says it is charging. Oh, the charger was off. All right, well, this is making noise, but this isn't showing anything. I mean, oh, the needle's moving. Output is 20 amps, so it's a 20 amp charger. Well, she's humming. I hear something going off in there. It's still showing E04. Charge percent, 12.5. All right, well, just gonna leave it for a few minutes, I suppose. Where is that beeping coming from? The beeping is coming from one of the battery thingies. I'm not gonna worry about that too much. It's the opposite of harsh shadows. I need to figure out how to charge these batteries back up. I can't even get the engine to turn over at this point. I tried really hard to get this thing turned over tonight, but it just wasn't happening. Sometimes you just gotta know when to stop, and I think I don't know when to stop, and I probably should have stopped a while ago. For you guys, I have this old Sentry charger. I don't know how it works. This here is set to manual. This was set to off. As far as I know, it's been off since I bought the boat. I turned on the charger because I realized my 12-volt batteries were dead. This started humming, but there was no current showing on the current meter. I've had alarms going off for the last little while. I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working, so I decided I've got nothing to lose, and I flipped that to on, and now I'm getting current. I was showing no current before on the clamp amp meter. I had the charger on, this was showing nothing. I flipped it on, something in here started beeping like mad, but then it stopped. And now I'm showing about 5 amps going in. So I think I'm sorted. Actually, I was showing 12.5 volts before. What am I seeing now? Oh, fuck, this day has been fucking horrible. Positive, negative. Okay, now I'm seeing 13.42. Before I was only seeing 12.7. I think I got my charger going. Oh, it sounds like something just shut off. Yep, the charger just shut off. This is showing that it's charging, but the charger shut off. I don't know what's going on. I am so tired. The charger is turned on now. Sorry, I have no lights anymore. Auto, manual. Yeah, it's turned off. Okay, setting it to manual turned it back on. But when I bought the boat, I'm sure that manual, that was set to auto and this was set to off. It charged for a short bit under auto and then shut down. I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm having quite the day. My 12-volt bank shut down, or it ran out of juice. The charger was on, or was off, but that was just from when I was playing with this. I'm assuming that's not the only way to charge the 12-volt because I've been running on 12-volt for a while now. I noticed it was off because I tried to start the engine, it clicked, and then I started hearing alarms. I turned the charger on. I heard the old charger start to hum, but I wasn't seeing any current going in. So I took the back gel battery that I had originally taken off to test this, put it back in, and I checked the voltage after it was connected, and it was showing 12.7 volts. I tried to check the amperage, but I was an idiot and left it in AC mode, so I don't know what it was before, but the battery was clearly not charging. I wasn't seeing anything in AC or DC, but I don't know how valuable that is if I had it in AC mode. The voltage here was quite a bit lower. Now, the charger has been saying, oh, it's the heart interface is the charger. The heart interface is supposed to be charging. I turned on the backup charger. The heart interface is fucked up. That's the, oh, that would explain why this thing was set to output off because this wasn't being used for a very, very, very long time, I bet. On the right, it was set to auto and output was set to off. I flipped it from auto to on and it started charging for about 5 minutes. I went from 0 amps to about 5 amps. And after about 5 minutes, it shut off. So I switched the output from off to on and now it seems to be charging. I have no idea how old this thing is. Probably original equipment, 81. I don't know if it still works. I mean, it's working kind of. I'm getting some power, but I think my hard interface is shit the bed. I might be connecting my inverter charger right away. Okay, well, if the hard interface is what's died on me, what was this? Ideal regulator output module. Use with monitor regulator for systems from heart interface. I wonder if that box is acting up. I don't know what this wire is. That wire broke off. I have no idea if that's somehow tied to the alternator. No, that would be a sender of some sort. Oh, fuck. What is going on? I have had no luck today at all. Okay, so something's up with the hard interface. It thinks it's charging, but it's not. I turn the charger off, AC in. I have no idea. I don't have the manuals for this. Okay, so if the hard interface has died, I guess that's getting installed a lot sooner than I expected. What an absolute clusterfuck of a day. Can I turn my fridge back on? Okay, it was not actually coming on. It was stuttering trying to come on before. I don't know if that's just because it's got power from that battery that's been disconnected all along now that it's connected into the system. I don't even know what to say. So last night was a lot. What ended up happening is when I tried to start the engine, it drew the power or the batteries down so low, the heart interface went into a self-protection mode, E04, which was says that if the voltage goes too low, it goes into a self-protection mode, whatever that means. Key thing is, I used the old charger to bring the gel batteries back up, and once they got to a point where the voltage seemed to be okay, I turned off the heart interface and turned it back on, and it seemed to be working again. I left it overnight, and this morning it looks like the batteries are fully charged. Which is nice because I like having things in my fridge not go bad because I don't have a fridge. So I am going to go and try and start the engine again. The upside is now that it's day. Not a lot of day left because I just finished my day job, but day nonetheless. Okay, let's see if she turns over today. Nothing on the fuel gauge, nothing here. Oh, I hear the voltage dropping off again. Son of a bitch. All right, I don't know why the engine's not starting. I heard the beeping. It sounds like the batteries are low again. I have to go figure it out. I don't know what this switch is for. We got turnover. All right. Okay, it didn't start, but that's fine. Let me go see if that pushed some water through the coolant, because that's the key thing I want to do here. Damn it, I didn't have the camera on. Oh, it puffed. Wow, it's taken a lot. Well, that's a good sign. I'm hearing bubbling. Well, that's all that was in the jug. All right, I need to go mix some more of this. So I'll be right back. Much happier now. Let's mix some more. That's 50-50-ish. I just saw the cap. What did I do with the cap? The hell? I literally just saw it. Okay. That's mixing it. I'm still hearing gurgling. Oh, there is the cap. Holy crap, this is taking a lot. Okay, this is taking... No, there's none down in the bilge. So it's not leaking. There we go. It's at the top now. Woot! Didn't even spill much this time. And there goes the bubbles. It's close enough to the top that I'm going to turn it over again, it being the engine. I don't know if I really need to put the cap on each time, but I'm scared of it gurgling out. Let's go turn on the engine again. I don't want the engine to actually start. She says right before starting it. And then stalling it. I turned around to look to see if there was water coming out the exhaust, and there wasn't. Okay, that's fine. That ran for a bit. Let's go see what it's done to the fluids. Oh, that was a bit more than I intended. Is there a position I can get in that lets me pour easier and see inside? Let's try this. This is taking so much because of the hoses in the hot water tank. The hoses going to the hot water tank, I think, is the majority of the air. Oh, and I spilled it. Okay, but not as bad as yesterday. Let's turn the engine over again. And as people are going to ask, yes, I'm aware of not running the starter for too long. I'm letting it cool down. Okay, one more try and then I'm going to let it rest. Okay, this push button needs to be replaced. Okay, it's probably not getting fuel. I need to go see if I can bleed it. But first, I'll check the fluids again. It ran for probably a few seconds before because there was still some diesel in the lines going to the engine. It burned those up and then stalled out. That is my guess. Oh, I'm gonna have to open up the bleed nipple in there. Shit, leaking diesel. There's a bunch of diesel just fell into the... Well, that's what the pad's there for, it'll catch it. Okay, so that was definitely pressurized. So why is it not starting? When the diesel started gushing out, I didn't see any air bubbles at all. All right, I have primed the bulb until it's stiff, so I don't know if there's anything else I can do on the diesel side. When I cracked the bleed screw, I didn't see any bubbles and diesel started coming out. It's pressurized, so I closed it back up again. Check the coolant levels and then give it another try. Keep doing this until there's no room for more coolant. It didn't take very much, that's for sure. All right, good. Okay, here we go again. That's neutral, up is throttle. Oops. Oh, she's trying. She's trying. God damn it. All right, I'm gonna go squeeze the diesel bubble thingy again. Joe said to squeeze this until I heard diesel going back into the diesel tank. I'm squeezing this and nothing's going into the tank. I really hope I don't have a blockage somewhere. All right, I don't really know what else to do but to keep trying. Turn the throttle up a little bit. I know not to run it too many times or else I'll burn out the starter. Ah! Oh, it's getting there. Okay, one more try and then I'm gonna let the starter rest. Ah! That's the engine cutoff. It's in. All right, well, gotta let her rest for a minute. I'm gonna go down and check the fluid levels again. Added a fair bit more coolant. Gave it a minute to cool down. Yeah, that switch is definitely shot. She's trying. I don't think it's getting diesel. I haven't seen any water come out of the exhaust yet either. One more. So close. Why won't you start? Fuel sender's not working at all. Can't say I'm hugely surprised by that though, after how badly I abused it. Oh, it responded to the throttle input. It stalled again, but it responded to the throttle input. One more time. I keep saying that. Okay, let it cool down. Over and over this dance goes. Well, it didn't take much. I think the coolant system might be largely bled now. Starter doesn't feel hot at all. But that doesn't mean the coils inside aren't hot. Okay, let's try it again. Ah, so close. Okay, that sounded like it was spinning without any resistance at all. That doesn't sound good. Okay, I want to see if all the belts are spinning, but the only way I can really do that conveniently is with my camera. I forgot to hit record, didn't I? Yes, I did. All right. Watch this belt for me. Watch this belt for me. Putting my phone in danger's way. That's the longest she's run yet. Oh, I should not have touched that. Okay, one more try. Nope, better cool down. So close! Woo! I'm not getting any water out of the exhaust. That's a problem. Okay, so engine is running. King awesome. I don't have exhaust water coming out of the exhaust yet. I'm not sure why. I've got to figure that out. That's the next step. It's running! Woo! I wasn't recording. Damn it. Turned the engine on, let it run for about another minute. I saw one gush of water come out and then it was dry again. I suspect there's probably water on that upper impeller right now, but I want to be careful. So I'll, wow, I look horrible in this light. Getting your ankles. I'm gonna let it cool off for a little bit, let the impeller cool off in case it's dry, and I'll turn it over in a minute. But the second time I started the engine, turned right over. No problems whatsoever. Fuel system's working. It occurred to me that I haven't checked the transmission fluid levels. That was tightening it. Oh, sorry, camera. Well, there's oil above the bottom of the dipstick. There's oil to about here, but I don't see any lines that say what to fill to. I'll look that up after. Anyways, there's still transmission fluid in it, which is the key thing. Do you want to see the face of an idiot? Guess why I wasn't getting seawater? That would do it. All right, let's go do this the right way. Come on, water, please. Still no water. I'm getting worried about burning up the impeller. Give it one more try. Come on, water. All right, I don't want to risk burning it out. The engine I can feel is getting pretty warm, so I'm just going to shut it all down and leave it for an hour or so. I don't know what else it might be, unless I've already ruined the impeller. I suppose in an hour I could pull the impeller back out and see if it's still okay, and then put some new lube on it. Try again. All right, I'm going to go and pull out the new freshwater impeller and see if I damaged it by running it for so long without the seacock open, running it dry. Hopefully it's not shot. All right. There's so much soap coming out that I can't actually spin the screw. That's a good sign, I suppose. All right, actually, the impeller looks perfectly fine. Yep, I'm not seeing any scorch marks. Everything looks good. Yeah, I'm gonna say she's fine. All right, I asked a couple friends who I trust, should I prime the lines with fresh water? And the general consensus was, no, you shouldn't have to. But I don't think there's any harm in it either. So I'm going to take this line off the wet elbow and pour water into it and get as much water into it as I can, which should fill up the heat exchanger and prime that pump. Again, I know it shouldn't be needed, but here we are. I can't seem to get water out, and I'd rather be safe than risk burning up that impeller. Oh, I'm going to need some hot water to put this back on, I can tell. Well, maybe not. Let's go get some water. Okay, well, that wasn't enough water. If you're wondering why I haven't got the funnel, it's because I think it'd be bigger than it's worth, and I don't want to untape it just yet until I know I've finished pouring coolant into the main coolant reservoir, so spilling some fresh water isn't the end of the world, not in a boat. Actually, using the kettle would be easier. I could pour it out the spigot. Well, it's definitely taking up a lot of water. Oh, okay. Well, probably a pretty good sign that the tube is pretty full. Is there air in the system? Almost certainly. Is there a lot less air in the system? Almost certainly. Shall we go start the engine? Let's go start the engine. Watch right there. That's where the water should come out. I expect it's going to burble the water I poured in out first. Then it's going to blow air. And then it should, if things are working, start blowing a steady stream of water. Fingers crossed. Nothing yet. The impeller is spinning. Oh, I'm seeing soapy bubbles. Okay, don't fall over. Come on! These soapy bubbles are for you, Tim. Let's give it a little throttle. See if we can get some suction. Come on! I see you trying. Come on, you bastard! Give me some water. Come on, come on, come on! Okay, I can't risk overheating it. I don't know. The impeller is spinning. Seacock is wide open. Fuck! Ah! I don't know. I don't know. That was already... Yeah, I can feel these lines are hot. Yep, the exhaust is hot. The impeller's hot. Not hot, I mean, I can hold my fingers against it, but it's definitely warming up. I don't know. I don't know. So, the weather is appropriate for my mood. Cold, rainy, and miserable. Joe the mechanic kindly stopped by to help look at why I'm not getting water out of the exhaust, and so far as he can tell, nothing's wrong. One of the suggestions he had was take the hose coming from the impeller off the heat exchanger, turn over the engine, and see if I get any water out. I have some really shaky cell phone video of that working, or of that happening. Yep, that's a yes. That was water coming out. So I reconnected that hose, disconnected the hose going to the mixing elbow, and did it again, and I didn't see any water come out of the heat exchanger. Okay, next try. I know I saw water coming out of here. I mean, there was air in it. It wasn't a steady gush, but there was definitely water coming out. So this should be the outlet. I'm going to run it and see if I get water gushing out of here. There's my problem. Perhaps it's not pushing enough water through to get enough pressure to get the water up and through the exhaust. But right now, knowing that the water is going into the heat exchanger, not coming out, I have to assume that the problem is somewhere in the heat exchanger. Easy way to test that without risking the engine is just pour some water into the top of the heat exchanger and it should start to dribble out the lower hole. So that's what I'm going to do next. If that works, great. I have to move on to something else. If that doesn't work, I'm taking the heat exchanger apart again. It's really hard times like this to keep going. But keep going we must. Joe was saying that it should be gushing out, and I don't think I would have used that adjective, but I also didn't let it run for very long. Pour water in here, see if it comes out here. I'm gonna need something to... Oh, I wish I'd have saved a piece of hose. Alright, well, I'll figure something out. What about this? Ah, that'll work. Oop! You're not going to be able to see me pour it in, but I'm sure you get the idea. Well, that ain't clogged. That is definitely not clogged. That came out here quite nicely. Oh well, okay, so that's going to go back in here. Actually, now that that's full, let me turn over the engine again. Y'all keep an eye for me, will ya? So water was coming out, but yeah, it's cold. You can see the the steam coming off my hand. I don't know if you can actually see that on camera. It's very cold out. But that was not very much. It should be coming out a lot faster. Oh, it is chilly out. I wonder if the sea strainer could be blocked. Okay, I'm gonna pull this off and rerun the engine. We'll see how much water comes out. Watch right here. This should gush water. Why was that spurting water and was this spurting water? I saw this coming or splashing out and I killed the engine. I don't know if it was coming out of here. Why was that gushing water? It wasn't really gushing, I know, but this time with less panic. Was I an idiot and closed up the seacock? Nope, seacock is wide open. Okay, I take it back. I'm getting no water out of the seacock, out of the sea strainer. All right, well, I'm not getting any water out of here. Yeah, that's the inlet. The impeller is going this way, so it goes in through the long path and out the top just before compression. So that's the output. So it's not getting water here. I'm going to go back to assuming this is okay. I'm absolutely stumped. Earlier today, I took this off. I closed the seacock, took this off, opened the seacock, water gushed. So I know the seacock is okay and open. Maybe there's a plug in the sea strainer. That doesn't make sense to me, but nothing makes sense to me. Yeah, back to thinking there's no water coming from the impeller, so the impeller must be the problem. I knew this was going to be hard. I don't think I was ready for how hard. I'll figure it out. I'm going to end this video here. It's taking far too long. I'm the Digital Mermaid, and I'll figure this out, even if I don't know how to right now. I was just about to give up and call it a night, call it a video, and Joe called me. Like, what is it? It was 6:30 at night on a Friday, and he was like, I have a thought. The current theory is that the impeller that I found had come with the boat, and I have no idea how old it was. Judging by the package, it was fairly old. You probably saw earlier in the video when I opened it up. His thought is that there's a brass center hub that the screw went through that slots into the hub that rotates. There's a slot in it, and the threaded rod keys into that so that when it turns, it forces the impeller to turn. He's thinking that that brass may have started turning independently of the external rubber with the fins. And if that is separated, that would explain why I'm occasionally seeing little spurts of fluid, if it's just like occasionally turning a little bit at a time. That was very William Shatner of me. He's a dick. I am going to pull the impeller again and see if, while it's still attached, I'm going to use a flat screwdriver, this is on Joe's recommendation, and see if I can turn the impeller blades separate from the hub. I may just take it out entirely and see if it's coming apart. And if it is, I might just need another impeller, which would be, well, assuming I can find a replacement impeller, glorious. So I'm going to go in and rip that out and see if he's onto something. It would make a lot of sense. It would make everything suddenly make sense. So I'm really hoping that's right. It's absolutely howling out there tonight. So what he was trying to suggest is, can I turn the wheel while this hub stays in place? I mean, I don't want to stab it too hard. Yeah, I'm just going to pull it out. It's not a good sign that every single time anything puts a draw on the 12-volt battery, that alarm goes off. Got it. The screw, I don't know if you can see the screw head there. That is still in the same place, so it doesn't look like the rubber or the brass has come separated from the rubber. All right. I'm trying to put a rotation. Watch the belt back here. You can see I'll put my finger on it. I can't turn it obviously because the belt is holding it in place, but that tells me the shaft is connected. Now, you're probably not going to see what I'm doing here very well, but I'm going to try to take the sea strainer out, if I can get around you, and see if it's blocked. I pulled the basket out, but I never really looked inside of it. See if I can get a good look. What is that? Is that like a washer or something? No, I can get my hand all the way down. Okay, well, I thought that might have been blocking something. Let's try this again. Oh no, it's pink because of the antifreeze is still in it, which means the water has not been cycling through this at all. How does the water get forced through the basket as a filter? So the left is the input, the right is the output. What's to stop the water from going straight through? How does this act as a filter? Oh, that's not an inlet. The pickup for that is down at the bottom, I'm guessing. Is that how that works? Well, I had hope for a minute that I had it figured out. I'd like to say some things right now that probably would not be good. So I was talking to some folks. I was on the Lady K Discord channel, and I was talking about the problems. Now that I know that water's pouring through the heat exchanger, that's fine. I pulled the impeller again last night. That looks fine. I'm starting to wonder if the water's not getting through the sea strainer. And part of the reason I'm thinking that is because it's still pink inside of the sea strainer, which tells me that the antifreeze that I put in at the end of last fall has never cycled out. And the way that the sea strainer works is, the water has to get through the strainer to go down through the bottom to come up and out the outlet. So I would expect that to be clear by now. So I don't think any water is getting through the strainer. My original plan this morning, before I was talking to the folks on the Lady K Discord, was I was going to take the hose that's off the sea cock where the fresh water comes in through the hull, lift it up higher than the sea strainer and pour water in and see if it comes out of the sea strainer. If it does, close the sea strainer, remove the hose on the outlet and do it again to see if it's getting through the sea strainer and pouring out, which I suspect it isn't. But why? It was working before. Well, I'll insert some pictures here, but I didn't realize that's gasket material because it's the same green as corroded copper, brass, whatever this is. Bronze? Brass and bronze, I'm always mixing up. Anyways, I cut the old gasket off and I have cleaned it up and sanded it using the emery cloth. And I did the same thing to the top of the actual strainer itself. I'm going to pour the water through the sea strainer first, and if it actually does go through, then the reason I'm looking at the gasket is when the impeller is running, it's creating a suction and it might be sucking air in and instead of sucking water through. I had never opened up the sea strainer since I bought the boat until I was doing this work. And I bet you that when I opened it up, I broke the old rotted seal of the gasket and now it's letting air get sucked in through that. So with a fresh gasket, if that's the problem, that'll solve that. But I'm gonna go pour the water through first to see, because if it's not getting through at all, I may end up going and just seeing if I could buy a new sea strainer. So let's go pour some water. And the sea clock leaks. I know this. The actual sea cock leaks even when it's closed. Now for this to work, I have to get this up higher than the sea strainer. Okay, that puts me higher than the sea strainer. You can actually see better than me if this is working. Ooh, that water's still warm. Right, because I made a coffee with it. Okay, the sea strainer overflowed. This hose is clear, for sure. Now, I don't want to have to keep, whatever. It'll be what it'll be. I'm putting that on just to slow the leak that comes out of there. Now I need to go get a gasket to close that up. I have some cheap gasket material I bought. It's not what I want to use long term, but I'm going to go cut some of it up and make a temporary gasket just to experiment with. I'm going to save this gasket in case I need to show them when I go to get a replacement, but it's not so much a gasket as is now a fossil. When I was looking for the gasket for the heat exchanger, one of the stores I was at said we didn't have it, but they had this generic gasket material. So that's what I'm going to use to try to make a at least testing gasket. Okay, I don't want to cut this. Now, a wise person would change their blade. Okay, I'm not wise, but I'm going to change my blade. Come on, get back on there. Thank you. What do y'all call this knife? I grew up referring to it as a carpet knife. I've heard Pete referred to as a box cutter knife, as a utility knife, as a I can't get the screw in because apparently that's too complicated for me knife. Okay, I've changed these blades like literally 1,000 times in my life. Now that I'm doing it on camera, I'm struggling. Go figure. Yeah, I always knew it as a carpet knife, but I think for a carpet knife, it's supposed to have a hooked blade on it. But regardless, that's how I've always known it. I'm just going to cut it rough. Just so I have a smaller piece to work with. Perfect? Nope. Okay, now I need to cut out the center just so I can get the screw through it. You don't have to be particularly exact about this. Arts and crafts with a digital mermaid. And just like that, we have a gasket. I'm gonna go put this on, put the lid on it, tighten it down, pour the water back in again and see. Oh, I have to take the, you know, I could just put this on and fire the engine up and see what happens. Wow, I look disheveled. It's been a few days. Get the gasket relatively centered. That's on. Let's take this off. Actually, I don't have to take that off because the impeller housing is open. I can get my hose higher than the impeller, so I should be able to see it draining out here if I get it right. Yes, it's pouring out the impeller. So it's getting through the sea strainer. So I know the water's getting through the sea strainer just fine. It wasn't congested, it just poured right out as fast as I was pouring it in, which is a good sign. So now my biggest hope is that it was sucking air through that excuse for a gasket. I'm going to go put the impeller back in, which I'm not going to film because you've seen me do that a whole bunch of times. I'm going to put a little bit of put a little bit of soup to lubricate the impeller. I'm going to put a bit of dish soap on the impeller to lubricate it and close her up, and let's try the engine yet again. The impeller's back in, got the cover back on it. I'm going to go put you on the dock. I'm going to set you back a bit because it's really windy and I don't want the camera to fall in the water. And then we're going to start the engine. We've got water! Okay, so it must have been the sea strainer gasket. Woo! All right, I'm gonna go put that on and let's see if we can send her out the back. Come on, come on, come on, let's get some water. Yes! Woohoo! Finally! Oh my God, that's a beautiful sight. I'm a digital mermaid, we've got water, fuck yeah! Woo! All right, let me try that again. I'm a digital mermaid, I've got water coming out the back of my boat. I am happy. I will see you all next time. Bye. All right, this is post-edit, Maddie. I forgot to turn on the damn GoPro, so you didn't see it. You heard it, but yeah, there's the water, she's coming out. Oh my God, what a sight. This is never going to end. The heat exchanger is gushing water out the port side. I have to pull it apart again. This is going to be a long post roll for this video, but I mean, it makes sense because this video is really long. I pulled the cover off and, oh, let me show you something. Welcome to my boat's floor. So, oh, I've got, that's kind of pretty actually, but it's not helping. There we go. My God, I look disheveled. Okay, so I think what's happening is I took the cover off and I don't know if you can see, but I'm exaggerating, but it's kind of bowed like this inward. I'm guessing at some point in the life, there was like a washer style gasket that didn't cover the center and somebody tightened it and it actually caved it in. And that is evidenced by the fact that if you see the indent pattern on the new gasket, it's only putting pressure at the center, not on the outer edges. So what I need to do is put build up something on the back all the way around, and then I'm going to hit it with a dead weight and see if I can cave it out the other way. Not much, just a little. This is brass or bronze, again, I always mix it up which one's which, but it's a fairly ductile metal, so I should be able to do that without too much effort. I'm going to take some duct tape and put it all the way around here and then smuck it with a hammer and try. Old boats! So fun! Okay, I'm going to go sort that out. I'll bring you back before I actually do it, so you can watch me get violent on metal. The reason I'm doing this is I want to make sure that when I hit it, all the sides have equal pressure so that I don't end up making it like that shaped. Why am I doing this on the floor, you might be asking? Well, the answer is simply I didn't feel like stretching the legs of the tripod. This is laborious, but it will be worth it if it stops my leak. I am a terrible singer. Now, for the whacking stick. Oh, does that look any flatter to you? So if I go too far, I'm going to create just another problem by having it leak out here. But I think that's better. Let us go give this a try. Fuck, I hope this works. Pardon my language. Lucky Daddy is happy! Oh my god, what a sight!